Hi students, I wanted to go over the study guide and I'm not really keen on the study guide. It was only 5 questions. I'm not really sure what happened to the rest of the questions, but that's the study guide I gave you, so that is the study guide I'm honoring. Looks like these are going to be the quiz questions right now. I guess the bonus could always be something more, something else, more specific because it's a bonus question, but this looks pretty straightforward. So we will go with that, right? So let's just go over the questions. It says, reflecting on the quote, but the words would endure like medicine. How could memorizing the Gettysburg Address be medicine for the students at Greenwood School? So again, of course, the film connected the Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln with the students' project that they had to memorize the Gettysburg Address, right? So reflect on that quote, but the words would endure like medicine for our country, right? The Gettysburg Address, which was a short speech considerably and wasn't, people didn't think it would have this long lasting effect at the time, but it certainly has. How did it endure like medicine? But also for the students at the school, how could those words be like medicine for them? So that's what you want to answer very specifically and use evidence from the movie to support your idea. Number 2, have you ever had to memorize a passage? How was your experience similar or different from the students at Greenwood School? So if you have had to, then you have something to talk about there. So for example, when I was in 8th grade, we had to memorize a couple of things. We had to memorize the preamble to the Declaration of Independence. And that was, I can still, if I think about it, remember a lot of it. So, how I would talk about that, right? And how that, had an effect on me, right? So if there is something that you had to memorize in school or, something religious that you had to memorize, some folks have told me about memorizing scripture and things like that. Whatever it is, it could be a poem that you had to memorize, whatever it may be. Talk about how your experience was similar or different. If you have never had to memorize anything, then fine. You don't have to have had to memorize anything. You could talk about that you have not had that, but what do you think the experience would be like, and is there another project that you connect with that was like a big project for you that was maybe a little intimidating that you had to do, and how that experience was similar or different? That would be okay. All right, so 3, how does the film connect the struggles and triumphs of the students with the struggles and triumphs of the United States during the time of Civil War? How do the words of Abraham Lincoln address both the country's struggles and triumphs at that time and also speak to the students more than a century later? So I think that's pretty straightforward. Again, there's that weaving together of our country during the time of Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, and also, speaking to the students. 4, how does the assignment of memorizing the Gettysburg Address specifically help the students at Greenwood School? Is there any way that the assignment is not helpful? So you could talk about if you think it built their confidence, if, whatever, the memorization skills, the specific assignments that were connected to the memorization, which seemed to help them with pronunciation, with vocabulary, things like that. I mean, those are just some ideas. There are certainly others. Is there any way that the assignment is not helpful? If you have an idea about how, might be too intimidating or something like that, then do discuss that. Whatever your idea is about that, just explain it and then give evidence from the film. Number 5, discuss one of the students in the film. What were his particular struggles? What were some of his gifts? How did learning the Gettysburg Address help him with his learning issues? And how did the assignment help him to highlight his gifts and talents? So very straightforward. You just want to focus on one student and you want to answer all the questions. And remember to specifically give specifics from the film on that. Okay, so I think that's about as straightforward as you can get for a study guide, because I don't know where all the other questions went. It's a mystery, but we will go with this. So the 4 questions, to be clear, the 4 questions will come from these 5, and the bonus question could also be one of these, or it may be something more specific about the film. All right? All right, thanks, and take care.